Shalom, shalom, greetings. Habari, Mambo, this is Wanda, this is Diaspora Connect. Thank you so much for tuning in. I decided to do a video today. Um, and I want to talk about the situation that's going on in Kenya right now. Yeah, that's the conversation of what's going on in Kenya went viral. Like everybody's talking about it. It's international news. Like everybody's looking at it, talking about it. And so I wanted to chime in on the youth, Gen Z doing their thing in Kenya. Shout out to Gen Z for standing up against um, old systems that will eventually affect them in the near future. So shout out to my Gen Z standing up for what you know is right. I have a Gen Z one. I have a Gen Z also. Um, and son. I think he's Gen Z. So, but yeah, the youth are the future. The youth are the future, and what I'm seeing going on in Kenya right now, it's nothing new to us, Black Americans coming from America. We've been fighting like that. What y'all doing in Kenya? We've been doing it all our lives. Like our parents and our grandparents been fighting for uh, for our rights to be treated fairly and against wickedness and unfair treatment, etc. We've been fighting. So what I'm seeing y'all doing, Gen Z, we've been doing that in America. Like we've been fighting from day one. So this is right up our alley. Like, yeah, so we stand with you. Gen Z in Kenya, we stand with you. Um, and I'm very impressed at you, but we do also know that I would say 30 years old and under is the largest demographic on the continent, all across the continent. So the youth are the future. They're going to be the ones running the countries, and the elders don't need to be destroying the country for them, before they even get going good. So yeah, it's time for them to stand up for what's right. Even the Messiah. And if you don't know, on this channel, I subscribe to the biblical scriptures. So I always reference the scriptures. Every now and then I reference the scriptures, but yeah, I stand for the scriptures. I believe in the scriptures. I believe that we are the people of the book. I believe that it's our history book. Anyway, even the Messiah at 12 years old, he was in the synagogues preaching to grown men. So yeah, the youth are the future. They standing up for what's right. And I'm proud of y'all standing for righteousness, but just keep it peaceful. Keep it you know, just keep it peaceful, and which you have been. Unfortunately, there are some people trying to get involved in that movement that's doing some unrighteous people involved in that, trying to do other things to make it look like it's Gen Z. But which is sad, because you always have to have some wicked people trying to just throw a monkey wrench in a peaceful protest and try to do something, stand for righteousness and stand for peace, and then you have people using that as an excuse to just do wickedness. So you're going to have that all the way around. So I know there's some of that going on, but for the most part, Gen Z standing for your country. It's your country, it's your future, and you don't want it to be sold off to the Mzungus and them, to the Europeans. And that's exactly what's going on. The same thing. They want to make Kenya like Southern Africa, that they own everything. And, they are in control of all the resources and all the riches in the country. And they allocate what they want to you in your own country. You don't want to be fallen. You don't want it to turn out how South Africa is Kenya. So the youth, apparently, they see that and they're like, nah, we're not going for that. We're not going for that. So yeah, that's really, really impressive. I'm proud of you. Stand for righteousness. Just make sure you do it. You don't forget to remain. Make sure you put God first. People call the Most High God. I call him the Most High, but people know him as God. Put him first. Make sure that you seek his face and put him first, because all this protesting and standing up, and it's not going to benefit you at all if you are not righteous and if you are not seeking his face. If you exclude him and you are worshiping idols, then all of this is going to be in vain, because it's just going to be harder and harder for you. So you have to come back. You have to come back to your uncreated creator, the one who created you. If you're involved in any kind of idolatry, worshiping ancestors and all that stuff, saying the Bible ain't real and all that stuff, come on back to the one who created you, the uncreated creator. And then he will stand with you. He will fight for you. So, and that's the same for Southern Africa and Kenya. If you turn away from your wicked ways, if you turn away from unrighteousness, if you turn away from all types of sexual sins and come back to the one who created you and live a holy and righteous life, those two things are important, holiness and righteousness. Then at that point, he will stand with you. He will fight for you. He will fight with you and all that good stuff. So just remember that. Repent and turn away. Don't turn away backwards to him and walk with your back to him. You know, turn back towards him. Turn around and walk towards him, not away from him. Right? So you want your country to go in the right direction. You don't want to turn out how America's going to turn out, because America's sins have reached heaven. And her judgment is set. It's in the book of Revelations. America's judgment is in the book of Revelations. I was born and raised in America. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. I know it's a hard pill to swallow when you were born in a specific country, and that country that you were born into is under judgment right now. It's under judgment. So, and we can't even, the country itself, not the individuals, the country itself has no room to repent, because the sin, the Father is set, like the judgment is set. He's not going to change his mind about destroying America. Period, point blank. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. It's something that is difficult to wrap your mind around, and it's something that is difficult for you to accept. I get it. But I knew this back in 2018. He showed me this back in 2018. When I came to the knowledge of the truth, when I came to realize that I am one of the children of Israel, the descendants of the children of Israel in the biblical scriptures. You know, the ones that were in Egypt, and Moses went and brought them out because the Most High God had led him to lead his people out. We're the ancestors of those people. So slavery is nothing new to us. It's been, if you look throughout the Bible, it's been slavery all throughout the Bible. And this transatlantic slave trade that we were involved in America, and not only America, dispersed throughout the four corners of the earth, it's nothing new. It's historical. So we are the chosen. We are the real children of Israel, not the people in the Middle East, not the fake people in the Middle East. They are identity thieves. They stole the Israelites' identity. They're Ashkenazis. They're not part of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So they're not descendants. They're not descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're not Shemites. They're Khazarians. So they're not the ones of the book, the Bible. The slaves, the ones who were slaves, are the descendants of the book, which were the slaves, dispersed through the transatlantic slave trade, dispersed throughout the four corners. Now, the slaves that were taken to slavery was taken or stolen from Africa. So you got to know that there were some people left in Africa. So not all of the children of Israel were stolen out of Africa and dispersed. Majority of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And a little bit of Levi, but majority of Judah and Benjamin was taken out of Africa and dispersed throughout the four corners of the earth. They got one of the hardest judgments, because we were the oldest, and we should have known better. And we were we enforced the law, but we were like the most wicked too. So we were Judah. When I say we were Judah, we were dispersed throughout the four corners. A lot of us are in America. So that's right. If you don't know, read Deuteronomy. Read the book of Deuteronomy. I've been saying this ever since I woke up to the truth. And then I woke up to the truth about who we were. And then the Father showed me that we're not originally he showed me that because there's a lot of Black Americans that say that they are ADOS, African descendants of slaves, which, yeah, we are descendants of slaves, and foundational Black Americans, meaning they were in America before Christopher Columbus, which they were. There was um, indigenous people in America before Christopher Columbus came to America, which is the Mzungu that they say discovered America. It was indigenous people already in America. Um, but anyway, I subscribe to the fact that my ancestors were stolen from Africa and during the transatlantic slave trade and dispersed out the four corners of the earth. Specifically, my ancestors were dispersed to America, and therefore, that's my bloodline. Therefore, I am from Africa originally. I originate, in which all of us, all Black people, originate from Africa. That's why it's called Mama Africa. It's the oldest continent. We all come from here. So it's a lot. I don't know why I went off into that history lesson, but if you have not heard this, research, go back. And also the connection between the people in the biblical scriptures and history is the Bantu people. Please study the Bantu people, how they move throughout the continent and expanded. You have them coming from the north coming down, northeast or northeast Africa coming down dispersed throughout Africa, mainly mid Africa, east and southern Africa. So most of the Bantu are in those regions, and actually we are Bantus. The ones that are in America, we are Bantus. The word Bantu is older than the word Hebrew. The word Hebrew is not that old. Go back and research when people started saying the word Hebrew. Bantu was in existence before Hebrew. So we're the same people. Bantu people, Hebrew people, we all look alike, got the same features. Yeah, and you can tell the difference on the continent, because on the continent you have Hamites and then you have Bantu people. So not just Hamites are in Africa. You have Bantu people who look a lot like us, Black Americans. We look like them. Because we're the same people. All of us, we speak different languages. We weren't dispersed throughout so you can't go by like what language the person speaks. You have to go by the features of that person. If you look at, like, if a lot of the Black Americans come back to Africa and we go to different countries, if you don't say a word and they look at you, they will assume that you're from a specific country on the continent. Those are Bantu people. Because they're gonna, so like for me, example, which most of you have heard this already, but when I'm here in Tanzania, now when they see my hair, they think maybe I'm from, I don't know why, it's something about my hair, they think I'm from Jamaica when they see my hair. When they see my hair, they always ask me, am I from Jamaica? I get that a lot. But when I cover my hair, they ask me if I'm either Tanzanian, or if I'm from Southern Africa. Those two. So I don't even have to speak. So they are going by my features, like what I look like, my features. So your features will tell who you are and where you're from. Not your language, not your passport. Again, your features as a Black person, of African descent. It doesn't matter where you're dispersed throughout the four corners of the earth, whether you're in, you know, Netherlands, China, Japan, wherever, we're everywhere. If you come back to Africa and you spend any time traveling to different countries, the Africans on the continent can look at you and tell you where they think you might be from based on your features. So that's why they always tell me I look Southern African. They'll ask me if tell me I look Tanzanian, which they have a tribe called the Chaga tribe. A lot of the drivers would ask me when I first got here, are you a Chaga? Which is in Kilimanjaro, in Moshi, in Arusha. Moshi, Kilimanjaro is where the Chagas are. They are light skinned, and some locals, some continental Africans here in Tanzania, they say white skin. They say whitey skin, but it's light skin. I'm like, when they say that to me, that I'm whitey skin, and I'm like, I'm not white. I'm not white. I'm not Mzungu. They said, no. They say whitey skin. So they're saying, instead of light skin, they say white skin. But a lot of the Chagas are my complexion. A lot of the Southern Africans are my complexion, but I am born and raised in America. So this is what I'm saying. Bantu people, a lot of us have the same features. I've seen people in the Congo who look a lot like people in America and stuff like that. I've seen women that I look like that live in the Congo. I even seen some women that look like in Nigeria. So we are all Bantu people. Before the word Hebrew was in existence, we're Bantu people. So Google, it's the only thing I can say is Google the Bantu migration, and you'll see how the Bantu people migrated all around the continent. The word migrated is the word that Google used. I had a discourse with someone, continental African, and he was saying that the Bantus didn't migrate. They expanded. It was like an expansion. Expansion, migrate. I mean, they moved around. Let me just say that they moved all around, the continent, and some places they settled. They moved everywhere on the continent. So, man, if you look in almost every country around the world, most of the people who are the poorest, who are the most downtrodden, are Bantu people. They are in the worst shape. The poorest, the most downtrodden, just the worst in that country in terms of poverty. That's because we were under a curse. Just like us in America, we were slaves over there. We were under a curse. In the book of Deuteronomy, talks about the curses that we will go under, the Israelites, if we didn't follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of the uncreated creator, the one who created us. We fell off into idolatry. We fell off into all type of abomination, all kind of sins, everything. All the stuff that we do now is nothing new under the sun. All this LGBTQ, homosexuality, all that stuff is not nothing new. It's what has happened now has happened before. Sodom and Gomorrah is a perfect example of the homosexuality, LGBTQ, transgender, all that stuff was in Sodom and Gomorrah. Bestiality, people sleeping with dogs and animals, that happened too. So this is nothing new. Even if you read some of the scriptures, the Israelites, our ancestors, even ate their own children because the Most High, they didn't have food to eat because they were on punishment. They were being punished, so they even ate their own children. And they cried out to the Most High because they cried out and repented for eating their own children. So this can happen again. It can happen again. So don't get it twisted. Just know who you are. If you are watching my channel and you're subscribed, my audience, my target audience is primarily diaspora. If you are, or continental Africans, diaspora, because with my channel, I want to teach the continental Africans about who we are, how we think, why we think the way we do, why we do what we do, because of how we were raised in a oppressive society. We were raised by our captors. We were raised by our enemies, by our oppressors, and we were taught their language, how they dress, how they think, how they do. Like we were taught a lot. There was some good things that we did get out of being born and raised in America. The financial blessings in terms of us having access to certain finances, but at the same time, the money came from us anyway. So I don't feel like it was them giving us anything because they're lazy. They were made rich off the backs of slaves. We were the ones cleaning up behind them, cleaning their house. We were the dadas for them. We were the dadas and the kakas for them in America. We built up that country just like the children of Israel built up Egypt. We Black Americans built up America. We made it rich. And so all these benefits that we have from America is what we work for. It's not Mzungu giving us anything. It's what we work for. And if we weren't in that country wouldn't have been great as it was. See how great it was in the past? It's going down now. But it was great because we were there, because the children of Israel were there, even though we were asleep and we were on punishment because we sinned. We committed idolatry. When you put anything before the Most High, any person, any party, any Freemasons and entertainment and sports, anything before the Most High God, that's idolatry. And we did that and we're still doing it today. So we have to stop doing that. He comes first. He's the one that gives us the breath of life. He's the reason that we're still alive today. So we have to remember that. We can't never forget that, because that's what put us in this slavery situation. But we served 400 years in slavery. So our slavery was up. Some people estimate that it was up in 2019. I would say possibly because that's when the 2020 is when Corona hit. So 2019, our punishment was up, and then Corona hit, and then everything was changed in America. Nothing has been the same, and it won't ever go back to being the same. As well as America, people don't believe it, but America is Mystery Babylon. That's in the book of Revelations. A lot of people don't believe it. Go and read the book of Revelations. It tells you exactly who she is and what her downfall, what her ending will be. And her ending will be destruction, because she has many, many abominations, which you can see. We changed marriage from a man to a woman. That was the Most High's, the uncreated creators. That was his institution. Marriage is his, but we changed it. So now 2 men can get married and 2 women. That's an abomination. And so you got now transgender people changing and doing operations, and then abortion. We killed so many children, and then slavery that was, up against the children. So America has a lot of strikes against her, which is why her judgment is set, which is why she can't repent. However, individuals can repent. Individuals can repent from their sins. So if you're an individual, you can cry out for you and your family and your loved ones or whatever. But the country itself is set for judgment. So basically, America is going to be destroyed. That's the bottom line. Yeah. So it's a hard pill to swallow. I know, I'm from there, born and raised, but you got to accept the truth. Like, you can't live in a reality where you just put it in the back of your mind and think it's going to go away. No, you got to prepare, because you got to know it's going to happen, which is why I'm over here, which is why I left when I did, because I knew it was going down. I left in 2020. Right after Corona hit, I left, and I've been over here ever since, 4 years this year. So I already knew the outcome of what would happen. I know it's going to be bad. I know people are going to be dying from all kind of plagues and sicknesses, natural disasters, poverty, hunger, all kind of stuff. I knew that all that would happen. So I needed to be somewhere outside of there. I don't want to be in a country that's under judgment. So yeah, that's why I left. And just so happened I came here, which is great, because I didn't really realize that this would be where I would go. But the Most High is the one who led me here. I wanted to go to Southern Africa, but now I'm looking at what's going on there with this politics, with these Mzungus. Yeah, I don't want to be in an environment like that, because I left America because of that. I don't want to go there and have to deal with it over there. So I'd rather be here where it's peaceful in Tanzania. Everybody gets along. It's peaceful. The history of Tanzania is peaceful. Yes, it's a challenge to stay, but it's ways that you can. You just have to follow the rules and do what you need to do to get in a position that you need to be in order to stay. So it's possible. You just have to get the right counsel, get the right advice and guidance from people who are have been here, people who are doing business, or what things that they're doing things here. You want to get advice from specifically me. I'm plugging my business, Diaspora Connect. I created my business in 21, Diaspora Connect LLC, here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I have registered my business, and I just wanted to. It's a consultation business. I primarily do travel and business consultations, and majority of my consultations are online, but I have been doing a lot here. If you are here, if you want to do business and you're already here, then I can meet with you. I don't do it over the phone if you're here, but we can talk over the phone, so it doesn't matter where you're located. We can still do consultations. I do charge $60 for 1 hour, so $60 for 60-minute consultation. So and then I go over everything you might need to know for traveling, or if you want to do business, I go over everything that I did to register my business. And I give you advice on that. And so basically everything that I'm sharing with you is information that helped me to be here 4 years, basically. So, and so it's possible. And when I came here, I did come here alone. And so a solo traveler, solo woman, middle age, and I was able to get everything set up. It's slow. It's been slow. I feel like I should be further along. Being here 4 years, I should be further along in my endeavors and what my desire was to do here. But if you know, doing business here is a lot different than doing business in America. It's a lot different. So you have to, let me make sure this volume is up, y'all. So you have to, let's see. Um, okay. Okay. Sometimes I forget to do that. My volume was down, so hopefully you won't have a problem hearing me. Because a lot of times my volume is loud when I play when I'm listening to my computer and I turn it down so it won't be so loud. I already talk loud, y'all. So I turn my volume down. But when I do a video, a couple of times I did my video and I forgot to turn the volume up and the video was low. So people say, I can hardly hear you. And I'm thinking, with my loud mouth, you can't hear me. So yeah, I did go ahead and just turn the volume up. But yeah, so I didn't realize that this video would go this way, but I'm gonna keep flowing. Yeah, so anyway, there is a way that you could stay here. And I am encouraging the business route. If you are old enough to be retirement age, then you can apply for a, permit, income-based permit. I don't know if you want to call it a retirement permit, maybe, but income-based permit to where but you have to apply every 2 years. So it's good for 2 years at a time. They don't have one longer than that right now. So every 2 years you have to apply. You can create a business, you can get a work permit and residency. If you create a business, it usually requires you to get a work permit because it is your business. And if no local is there to work, you eventually have to work. So, if you do, what you could do is you can travel also. So if you want to create a business here, you can create a business and then just travel back and forth. So if you live in the West somewhere and you want to create a business, you can do that. You create a business here, go back for a couple of months, and then you come here for a couple of months. So 6 months there, 6 months here, or 3 months here, 3 months there. You can go back and forth if you want to. You can still create a business that way. If you were not wanting to just stay and try to get a residency permit, you can just travel back and forth. I mean, I know that's a lot, but some people do it. There are a lot of other foreigners that do that a lot. For example, I go to a dentist, and the dentist is what is he? I think he's like Muslim. He's Muslim, and he travels. I forget what country he's from, but my dentist goes back every for holiday. So he'll go back. So I think he'll stay here for like 6 months, and then he go back for like 3 months for the holiday, something like that. So he still comes back and forth, and it's a dentist's office. So he's not here like that. He's traveling back and forth. So sometimes people do that if they are able to, if it's worth, the money and all that stuff. Sometimes they have to go there, get their finances or whatever, and come back and forth. So you can do that too if that's something you want to do. But it's a possibility for everyone. You just need to get the right guidance and information, and you can get situated, get established. And as far as us grouping together, there are a lot of us here. And I think I've said it before, but we are dispersed here too. Just like we always disperse everywhere we go, but we're dispersed. We just cannot seem to get together. Yeah, to work together. So we come in here. So we're coming here. It's nothing like we're still coming here regardless. So even if you don't seem to be able to group with the group, you can still do things. Like me, I'm not a grouping type of person. I tried it I tried it for the first 2 years when I got here, and if it was the worst thing I ever experienced. I felt like I was back in the U.S. Yeah, I felt the anxiety. It was just way too much. Like it made my hair like even whiter. It was already white, but it just, yeah, it was just way too much stress. So even the Most High, the uncreated creator, he's the one was telling me, if you don't get out them groups, he was telling me, I was in like 3 groups, massive big groups, 200-300 people. And I was the admin of the largest Tanzania repack group when I first got here. I was one of the admins, and I couldn't even sleep. It was like it was people arguing and fighting each other and going back and forth. So I had to be dropping people out the group and trying to calm them down. Like it was so stressful. I couldn't even sleep because if I turned my phone off, they would be arguing like crazy. I turned my phone off and I turned it back on, and it was all these messages. People are arguing and just going crazy on each other. So I'm trying to talk to them in the personal DM and say, calm down, it's going to be all right, whatever. And nobody's listening. So everybody, and if you don't, in groups like that of 200 and 300 people, if you don't address it right at the beginning, it's going to blow up. The chat is going to blow up, and you ain't going to be able to you can't even go back to see how it started because it's just way too many comments. So I had to get out of there. Yeah, I felt, it was causing me anxiety. And the Most High was telling me, you don't get out that group. So I eventually announced that I'm leaving the group. I just left the group. Me and the other lady, we were both admins. We both left. And so when you leave a group like that, it'll go like to the next person or the next people. So I don't know who was over it after that. After that, out of sight, out of mind, I was just out of that. But I know a lot of people, and I have people's personal numbers because of that. But yeah, I'm not a group. And then I was in one more group. It was a Israelite group. It was because that's my spiritual practice. I believe we're the people of the Bible. And so I was in a group like that where we follow the biblical holidays. We follow the biblical holidays that the Bible tells us to honor. We do the Sabbaths and stuff like that. So we don't follow the Christianity, Easter, the pagan, because that's pagan, Easter, Christmas, all that, Thanksgiving, all that stuff is like pagan. So we don't follow that. We follow the Bible. So I was in a group like that. I had to get out of that. That was too much because everybody got different beliefs, even in that. Some people call the Most High one name. Some people call the Messiah another name, and people can't get along. People arguing about who's right, who's wrong. And it's just so much time arguing that you can't even learn. You can't even grow together because it's too much. So I had to get out that finally. I had no more groups for me. So people, even now, I say, you should create another group. I'm like, no groups for me. I have to keep telling them, no, I've had experience with groups. They don't work for me. I do better with one-on-one contact or one-on-one relationships with people. And then I can stay focused, and I can help them to get where they want to be here, and give them advice about what they can and cannot do, or what I think will be possible or not, based on experience and what I've seen other people do. Some people have come and gone, and I have been here like the whole time. I haven't left. So, and I don't plan on it. And if I do leave, and it's not to be going back to America, it'll be another African country. I thought I was going to Zambia at one point because I went over there, and I was, but the reason that I was considering going to Zambia is because it was some locals. They had supposedly created an organization, something like an NGO, to help those who wanted to come back, the diaspora Afro descendants who wanted to come back to get like residency, business, visa and all that stuff. But when I went over there and started looking into, because I was partnering with that organization, that particular one, I'm not going to say the name, but I was partnering with this specific organization in Zambia, and I was actually recruiting people to go over there and I was going because I believed in what they said. It's not in my mind to think that people will lie, but after being here on the continent and watching the different ways some of the locals, not all, move, sometimes they will lie to get whatever they want, especially money. They will lie for money. That's what I've noticed. Not all, but some. And this organization had made promises to us that they did it fulfilled. Like they said they was going to get us like residency permits that we can stay. We went and met with the king a chief in his kingdom and all this stuff. They made all these promises. They had land for us. The chief gave us like all this land, supposed to be Bantu land for us once coming back. But how is that going to be for us when we can't get it in our name? We couldn't get it in our name because we couldn't even stay in the country. So they said that they would work it out to where we could stay in the country, but it never happened. A lot of people went there and then spent a lot of money to stay and had to keep paying money to extend, and then nothing ever happened with the paperwork for us to be able to stay in Zambia. So I ended up coming back here to Tanzania. I already had my business here, but I was going to keep my business here and just go back and forth. So maybe I was thinking like I was going to stay in Zambia and just come back here, back and forth doing business or whatever and stay there. But it never worked out. They were never able to get us like a residency permit. They were never able to get us business visa and all that stuff over there in Zambia. We ended up investing a lot of money. A lot of people did. And so we got beat basically because they never did what they said that they were going to do. So I had to learn the hard way from that. And I felt really bad because a lot of people went over there because they trusted me and they believed in me. And I was kind of leading them over there because I believed in them. But once I woke up and found out that they didn't do what they promised, I kind of called them out in the group. I was in the group and I kind of called them out. And it's like I became enemy number one. I was the one of the top diaspora bringing people in. Then I turned from the top to the worst enemy because they were like, "Oh, you driving people away, you messing up our money." And see, I was getting referral fees for referring people to them. So I was still getting money for referring people. But for me, once I found out that they weren't doing what they said they would do, I had to call them out. I had to say, "You guys promised that you would get us residency permits and all this." And I had a couple of friends that went over there and spent a lot of money waiting on them, and they kept putting it off, and they kept lying. Well, they kept making excuses. And then I found out it was never done. And even till this day, they're still in existence. And I think some of our people are still with them, but a lot of people kind of turned, after they lost money, they realized they were not legit. I would say that. I'm not big on calling people scammers, but they weren't legit. They didn't do what they said they were going to do. So you name it what you want to call it. They got our money, and even they even had mines over there. They got a lot of mines in Zambia. We invested money into their mines that was supposed to be for us. It was supposed to be for us, but we never received any returns or anything. So we invested money and we didn't get any returns. So what do you call that? A liar, right? Yeah, they lied. They didn't tell the truth about what they promised that they would do for us. So I learned the hard way through that, and a lot of people did. I feel bad about that, and I pray that the Father would just 100-fold return these people's money that they invested in the mines and in the organization, because it was not true. So I learned that the hard way. So after that, when I came back here, I had to slow down with because I have a land and building project that I'm working on, and I've been working on that ever since 21 when I created the business. That was my idea. I was like, okay, create this business, and then after I create this business, generate income for myself, then I'm going to buy land under the business, and then I'm going to try to do something for the diaspora. That was my dream to do. But after the situation with the people in Zambia, it just made me just wake up to realize, be careful with who you trust, and the land and all. Don't rush. Basically, don't rush into something. I was looking into some stuff, and then I backed off a little bit because I was like, let me just wait. Pray for a little bit. So I started praying, started seeking the face of the Father. I'm like, Father, please lead and guide me. I don't want to lose money. Not that I have a whole lot to lose, but I have a little bit. But I just don't want to lose the money that I do have, because I haven't worked a job since December of 2020. So my income, I did have savings, but my income is just consultations that I do, which is the $60 for 60 minutes. That's really the only income I had. And also I did referrals. So if I refer people to certain people, I worked it out that they would give me like a little referral fee. It wasn't much, but it's still money here. It's not that expensive to live here. So that's basically what I've been living off of. Then I had an extra room that I was renting out. This was back in my other place. I'm in a different place now. But when I was in Bessie Beach, I used to live over there, and I had an extra room. I rented that out. So it's different things that I would do for income. And so that's here. I'm here today. And that's kind of my life being here, but and I decided to do consultations kind of like it was thrown on me because when I first got here back in July 2020, I was showing pictures of leaving the airport, flying out of JFK when I first got here, and everybody was just like blowing my phone up, y'all. I didn't get no sleep. Like I was up during the day and up all night because people was asking me questions. Oh, how is it? I'm coming, and I was trying to tell them what to do. Okay, so get your passport, and all you need is this. Like I was giving advice for the longest until I think October. So I got here in July. October is when I started charging because I have a girlfriend and she was like, you need to start charging because you'll be up all night talking to people. And I was constantly talking and helping people. So I started charging and it started like $35 for an hour. And then my friend was like, you need to increase because I think I was the cheapest one. And everybody, they would call certain people who had higher consultation fees. And when they said, oh, no, that's too high, then some people would say, well, call her, me. She the cheapest. She $35. But then I decided to raise it to 60 at least because I was spending a lot of time and I needed the money. So I raised it to $60 for 60 minutes. So, and it's been that's the only two raises. I was 35 for the longest, and then probably a year and a half, I raised it to 60. So yeah, but anyway, that's my rate, and I've been doing it ever since. I've been trying to provide guidance and information, help, especially for women who are single with children. They think that they feel like, oh, I don't know anybody. Can I make it there? I made it. I've been by myself. I didn't have a little kid, but I'm a single woman, and you can make it here because one thing about that continent, which you have to be careful of, but you won't be by yourself. So if you have children, if you're by yourself, it's so many people that can help you. It's like a village. So even here where just wherever I lived when I was single, wherever I lived, I had a helper. Like the groundsman helped me with everything I need. So if anything I need to fix in the house, I say, could you help me? Anything I need to fix my washing machine or anything, can you help me? They're always there to help you. Anything you need, so it's not like you're going to be like by yourself. It's not good that if you are by yourself to get a place by yourself, like a house or something way out. That's not the smartest thing to do if you're a solo single person. But I provide those type of guidances. I always recommend that if it's just you, that you get someplace where it's maybe in an apartment, or if you want to live in a compound, which is a concrete wall around a house and maybe two houses or three or four apartment, something like that, but not by yourself because, the language barrier and just not the safest to be out by yourself. Anyway, I know a lot of us want to do that, but you got to start off at least in an apartment or somewhere, where other people are, so you won't be by yourself. Something happens and you're just not by yourself. So yeah, but I don't, wow, yeah, so we flow with this. But anyway, started off about Kenya and the youth, and then it ended up with what I do and what I've been doing. So, but anyway, I just wanted to do a video for you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe. Hit on the notification bell to be notified whenever I do a new video or a live. I'm going to do a live soon. I just have to think of something to talk about. Yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and do this video, my weekly video, and thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and hit on the notification bell. Anyway, I'll do a video in the next couple of days for you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will end this video now. So I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to say shalom, salam, peace, family, and see you guys in the next video.